There's someone in your life, right now a colleague, a friend, maybe even you, who sits in a room full of people and says almost nothing. Not because they're bored. Not because they're rude, not because they have nothing to say, but nobody ever stops to ask what's actually going on inside that mind, because here's what science is discovering: the quietest person in the room is often running the most complex mental operation of anyone there. And once you understand why they go silent, you'll never look at them or yourself the same way again. Most people speak to think. Silent people think before they speak. Neuroscience shows that introverted and highly observant individuals use a longer cognitive pathway when processing information, while others are already talking. The silent person is still questioning, filtering, cross-referencing. You've seen this play out. Someone asks a question in a meeting, half the room fires off instant answers, but there's one person sitting quietly, and when they finally speak, it's the answer that actually cuts through. They weren't slow, they were just being careful with their words in a way most people never bother to be. And honestly, for a lot of quiet people group conversations are genuinely exhausting in a way that's hard to put into words. It's not shyness, it's not social anxiety necessarily, it's that their brain is processing everything at once, not just what you're saying, but how you're saying it, what your face is doing, what you're not saying, and what the whole dynamic in the room actually feels like underneath the surface. That's an enormous amount of work happening in real time. So when they go quiet, they're not checked out. They're actually the most tuned in person there. They just need a moment to breathe through it. Here's the part nobody really talks about, though: a lot of quiet people weren't always this quiet. At some point, maybe in school, maybe at work, maybe in a relationship, they said something real, something honest, and it didn't land well. They got interrupted. They got dismissed. Someone laughed. Or worse, nobody reacted at all. And the brain remembered that. It adapted. It said, next time. Wait, next time. Be sure, next time. Don't put yourself out there until you know it's safe. Their silence, in a lot of cases, isn't a personality trait they were born with. It's something they learned because the world taught them to. What most people also don't realize is that while a quiet person is sitting there saying nothing, they're watching everything. Who's interrupting? Whose energy shifted the moment a certain topic came up? Who's performing confidence versus who actually has it, who means what they say, and who's just filling the air? Researchers call this high context processing, and it consistently shows up in people with higher emotional intelligence. The silent observer in the room usually has a more accurate read on what just happened than anyone who was busy talking through it. And this is probably the most important thing to understand about quiet people: they are not empty, they are full, overwhelmingly, uncomfortably full. Sometimes there's a constant inner dialogue running, ideas connecting, memories surfacing, questions forming. For a lot of them, the conversation happening inside their own head is richer and more intense than most conversations they'll have out loud. The silence you see on the outside is just the surface. Underneath it, there's a lot going on. But here's the part that quietly breaks people: the silent person usually wants to connect more than anyone. They replay conversations 4 hours after they happen. They think about what they said, what they should have said, what they felt but couldn't quite find the moment to express. They're not cold, they're not indifferent. If anything, they're the ones who feel things the most deeply. They're just carrying it somewhere nobody else can see. So the next time someone goes quiet in a conversation, don't rush to fill that silence for them. Don't assume there's nothing happening behind their eyes, because silence isn't the absence of thought. Sometimes it's exactly where the deepest thinking lives. And if you're the one who's always been a little too quiet, a little too in your head, a little too much for a world that rewards people who speak first and think later, maybe that was never something wrong with you. Maybe that was just how your mind was built to work all along.